would have been better off if they had instead made a reboot of Men in Black who like to have sex with each other.
Hey, this looks like a hot guy.
You're right, we better have sex with him.
Yeah, please.
Number 4, Tyler Perry's A Medea family funeral. This past year in cinema has been filled with many emotional farewells. The Avengers said goodbye to Iron Man, Woody rode off into the sunset with Bo Peep, and saddest of all, we bid one last hallelujah to Medea. As Tyler Perry announced he would finally be retiring his sassy female persona after her 11th installment. And even though Tyler Perry filmed this movie before the release of the Medea Halloween sequel, he did not want to release Medea's last movie so soon after Clue 2, and would instead spend 2018 releasing both his prodigy action Acrimony and his simply managed rom-com Nobody's Fool, which, to Tyler's credit, did not make the top 10 in last year's worst movies video, so great success. But even with the year-long anticipation building behind Medea's final movie, this installment proved to be no different than the previous ones, with Medea firing off snappy wisecracks in between melodramatic conflicts between her family members, which were easily solved with a visit to church. And as much as Tyler Perry had grown as a taken for her over these past 14 years of Medea movies, the same could not be said for his still amateur skills as a screenwriter and director, with Family Funeral feeling as rushed and sloppy as you would expect from a movie that was shot in less than a week. But despite being an uneventful finale, A Medea Family Funeral was another sizable hit that opened with the third best opening in Medea history. So it would not be a surprise that Tyler Perry decides to put the fat suit and fur dress back on for another movie. After all, the guy just got himself a Netflix deal, and we all know that Netflix loves to see themselves some black comedians wearing fat suits, so expect a future Netflix collaboration between Tyler Perry, Marlon Wayans, and Eddie Murphy to open up a portal to hell that will unleash the wrath of Asgard the Mega Demon upon the face of the earth. Number 3, Hellboy. When director Guillermo del Toro brought the satanic comic book anti-hero known as Hellboy to the big screen, his resulting 2 films proved to be fairly successful with audiences and critics, thanks to del Toro's beautifully realized role of goblins and demons, and Ron Perlman's pitch-perfect performance as the titular fallen demon turned paranormal investigator. But when Hellboy creator Mike Mignola finally began work on a third Hellboy movie in 2014 without del Toro writing or directing from his own script, Guillermo would turn down an offer to produce the third movie, and Ron Perlman followed suit in refusing to don the Hellboy makeup one final time. So from there, the Hellboy producers decided to reboot the franchise entirely, under the helm of director Neil Marshall, who had directed such modern-day horror classics as Dog Soldiers and The Descent, as well as the famous Blackwater episode of Game of Thrones. And the Hellboy makeup will be worn this time around by David Harbour, best known for playing Chief Jim Hopper in the Netflix series Stranger Things. But unlike the original 2 PG-13 rated films, this Hellboy reboot decided to go for an R rating, with far more bloody demon slaughter and plenty of swearing from Al Swearingen himself, Ian McShane, replacing the late John Hurt in the role of Hellboy's surrogate father, Professor Broom. Oh, and also we've got Mila Jovovich playing a witch or something. However, in going for an R rating, the Hellboy reboot tried so hard to be brutal and badass that it ended up trying too hard, and forgot to include any of the likable characters or sophisticated atmosphere which made the Del Toro Hellboy so great. And although David Harbour made a fine effort in making the Hellboy character his own, the poor guy had to put up with a hellish production process and a totally inconsistent script that was constantly rewritten during filming, with Harbour even walking off the set at one point, and director Neil Marshall not even allowed to supervise the film's final cut. So when the new Hellboy finally arrived in theaters, audiences and critics both decided to send it back to hell. And after the failure of both this disappointing reboot and last year's Pacific Rim sequel, Hollywood should learn by now not to follow up Guillermo del Toro.
There you go, get some of
Guillermo del Toro himself. Oh, who am I kidding? Hollywood never learns a damn thing. So stay tuned for the upcoming release of The Shape of Water 2, Colonel Strickland's Island Adventure. Number 2, Dark Phoenix. After director Matthew Vaughn successfully rebooted the X-Men franchise with First Class, and Brian Singer triumphantly came back to the series with Days of Future Past, X-Men fans were truly optimistic that their beloved school of mutants would be perfectly fine without the help of Marvel Studios. But then came the disappointment of X-Men Ivan Ooze, Apocalypse. And then came Brian Singer's dismissal from the franchise in the wake of his personal issues. So after Disney bought it in 2017, the fans were eager for the X-Men franchise to go out with one last great movie before rebooting once more as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And since Days of Future Past had wiped the that Fox's last X-Men movie would make another attempt Jesus. And like slimy ass all over it, with longtime X-Men screenwriter Simon King.
Want you to hit me as hard as you can. Want you to hit me as hard. Want you to hit me as hard as you can.
Hey folks, Jesse Shake from Awfully Good Movies here. And while we may have had a lot of awfully great movies come out over the past year of 2020, we still had to endure a lot of pretty damn bad ones. For every Incredibles 2, there was also Hotel Transylvania 3. For every Isle of Dogs, there was also a Show Dogs. For every great Halloween reboot, there was also a shitty Death Wish reboot. And for every Sherlock Holmes, there was also a Sherlock Holmes.
No, I was Oh my god, Happy Death Day. I love that.
Really? That's a good movie.
Death Day, yeah. Happy Death Day, that's when you look down when you go down. Like, keep waking up. Keep dying, you wake up and die, you can take... Oh, hey.
That is the film scores on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb, and defined based on by the percentage readers who voted for that film. So my thanks go out to the 1,437 awesome Joe readers who voted for the poll this year. And even bigger thanks to those 13 people who were brave enough to vote for Sherlock Holmes. Boy, I hope they make one final chapter to finish off this film trilogy by making The Hunchback of Notre Dame, co-starring voices of Lupita Nyong'o and Al Pacino. Hoorah! So without further ado, JoeLou.com and Awfully Good Movies present your picks for the top 10 worst movies of 2018. Number 10, Pacific Rim Uprising. 5 years ago, Guillermo del Toro gave us his biggest commercial movie to date with Pacific Rim. And while they suffered the indignity of being beaten by grown-ups 2 at the box office that weekend, it certainly had enough of an appeal on the foreign market that legendary pictures decided to keep the Pacific Rim universe alive with another installment. However, Guillermo del Toro was a little busy at the time, winning himself an Oscar. So now it's up to former Daredevil showrunner Steven DeKnight to direct the Kaiju Chaos this time around, with the newly introduced John Boyega taking the place of his father Idris Elba to try and re-cancel the apocalypse. So while Del Toro's first movie added a lot of his signature visual style that helped justify all the robot on alien brutality, the sequel just headed straight towards Michael Bay's Transformers territory instead, with a whole lot of ludicrous CGI building wreckage going on between big-ass robots and big-ass alien monsters that kept getting intercut with some terribly uninteresting human drama. In other words, it felt less like a Pacific Rim sequel and more like a Pacific Rim ripoff movie made by the Asylum.
I'm really confused, but I think Pacific Rim Uprising actually stole this part from Atlantic Rim.
And though the sequel still did financially well around the rest of the globe, it failed to make much of an impression with American audiences, leaving the fate of a third Pacific Rim movie currently up in the air. I mean, who would have thought we'd get to see a Pacific Rim sequel come out the same year as the Transformers spin-off movie, and the Transformers movie would end up getting a far better reviews? Clearly it's time for Charlie Day to fix up these giant robots of his for the third Pacific Rim by calling in his best buddy Frank Reynolds to pilot one of these gators. Number 9, Venom. After agreeing to share joint custody of the Spider-Man franchise with Marvel Studios 3 years ago, the Sony Corporation has actually been pretty damn good to the wisecracking Westlander this past year, with the Spider-Man PS4 game that was one of the best games of the year, and an animated Spider-Man movie that was one of the best films of the year. But Sony still remained insistent on keeping the rights to other characters from the Spider-Verse, so that they could establish their own Marvel universe, which kicked off this year with a spin-off movie based off of Spider-Man's most popular foe. After all, the last time Sony Pictures tried forcing that character into a movie, we ended up with a bronze-tipped Topher Grace wearing Shark Boy teeth. But this time, the role of Eddie Brock was now played by Tom Hardy, who traded in his Bane mask here for a CGI black alien symbiote that forms onto Eddie Brock's body to turn him from hard-hitting journalist to bloodthirsty creature. And while Tom Hardy certainly did make an effort with his dual performance, the movie itself perfectly demonstrated why Sony should leave the Marvel Cinematic Universes to studios, as other variants of the Venom symbiote were forced into the incomprehensible plot, and the character of Venom was saddled with some lame-ass wisecracking dialogue that even Freddy Krueger wouldn't wipe his ass with.
Freddy Krueger would wipe his ass with.
Still, I should point out that this movie did have quite a few things. So those who like the movie should be happy to know that Sony will be making more of their own Marvel adventures, whether Marvel Studios or the movie critics like it or not.
Oh, we are in the way.
Number 8, The Predator. Speaking of infamous and scary aliens who face off against Cobra Springs, the Predator franchise has sure gone down a lot of strange and different directions ever since the release of the original Schwarzenegger classic, which had a co-star in its past, a truly legendary screenwriter by the name of Shane Black. So to return the favor to the franchise for watching his career, Shane decided to help write and direct the upbeat reboot of the Predator franchise. But this time, the alien Predator's latest time on Earth involved in facing off against a ragtag group of military vets suffering from severe PTSD that have been locked up by the government. They're just like the A-Team, but if all the members of the A-Team had serious mental health issues. But before this latest Predator is called in theaters, the studio ordered Shane Black to reshoot the film's third act due to poor test speed from audiences. In a nutshell, the film's only comedic tone coming up against all the bloody alien carnage. Although this reshot third act sure didn't help audiences understand why we now had autistic children and fucking predator dogs being introduced to this franchise. Did we learn nothing from the Ang Lee Hulk movie people? So while the movie did open up at the top of the box office that weekend, audiences generally thought Shane Black's new take on the Predator franchise was one ugly motherfucker. And whether or not 20th Century Fox wants to give us another Predator reboot remains to be seen. After all, Shane Black isn't the only member of the Predator cast with some directing experience. Wink wink, Arnold, this may be your big chance to return to this franchise.
You son of a bitch!
Number 7, Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom. Yes, you folks may remember the controversy which ensued a few years back, when the Filming.com readers had voted Jurassic World as the third worst movie of 2015, even though that would have received a fairly solid reception from most critics and audiences at the time. About the time they were preparing their next installment of the Jurassic franchise, the studio looked like they were serious about addressing some of the problems with the first Jurassic World. Now, Colin Farrell is replacing the director's chair by acclaimed Spanish filmmaker J.A. Bayona, with none other than Jeff motherfucking Goldblum returning to the franchise as Ian Mountain. However, even though the advertising made a big deal out of Goldblum's return, he ended up just having a small cameo in the final film, and left his shirt woefully buttoned the entire time. As most of the movie focused on returning Chris Pratt and Brad Allen Howard without Reinhold shoes or Chris Valiant's baseball haircut this time, coming back to the island of Isla Nublar to save the remaining dinosaurs from being killed by an erupting volcano. Even though we have now had 4 movies which should have caused these stupid people to leave these fucking dinosaurs extinct already. And with Colin Farrell still staying on as a screenwriter, the sequel went down an even better route than its predecessor by bringing in James Cromwell as the former partner of John Hammond, who plans to genetically modify these dinosaurs and sell them on the black market. At this point, I would not be shocked if the next movie went into full-on Gremlins 2 territory. So while the sequel's big ass box office haul will help start production on a third Jurassic World, it's pretty evident by now that Universal was so preoccupied with whether or not they could continue this franchise that they are not stopping to think whether or not they should. If only somebody could have warned us about that 25 years ago. Number 6, the Cloverfield Paradox. If there's one thing that holds the wildly different films of J.J. Abrams' Cloverfield franchise together, it would be their purposely confusing trailers, which get released out of nowhere, with the 10 Cloverfield Lane trailer getting released only 1 month before the film hits theaters. But that's nothing compared to the sudden release of the teaser for the 3rd Cloverfield movie during this year's Super Bowl, which revealed that the film was skipping theaters entirely and being released on Netflix that very night. And when audiences went to open up Netflix right after the big game, expecting to watch another awesome installment in the Cloverfield series, they instead got suckered into watching a cheaply made sci-fi thriller, which producer J.J. Abrams just happened to slap the Cloverfield name onto, with a few minor alterations to tie it into the Cloverfield universe. And when the chairman of Paramount saw that this crappy movie would never make back its budget being released in theaters, he and Abrams decided to sell the movie off to Netflix. And their genius marketing move of having the film released on the same night as its first teaser trailer attracted up to 5 million viewers in the film's first week of streaming. But not many of those 5 million people were happy with the otherwise good Cloverfield movies being tied into this glorified sci-fi channel original movie. So we shall see if Netflix will do any better with its next anthology-themed installment of the Cloverfield series, The Ballad of Cloverfield Scrub. Number 5, Robin Hood. According to the legends of English folklore, Robin Hood was seen in England as a heroic outlaw who stole money from the wealthy upper class so he gave it to the poor and unfortunate folks of the lower class. But after seeing his story retold in movie after movie after BBC show after movie, I now start to think that Robin Hood is also stealing himself some money off of the movie-going public. That was certainly the case with this latest modernized retelling of the Robin Hood legend, where the Merry Beast was now played by the great star of the Kingsman movies, Karen Edgerton, with Jamie Foxx taking the role of Robin's loyalty lieutenant Little John, and Ben Mendelsohn in his 378th villainous performance playing the Sheriff of Nottingham. But much like Guy Ritchie's failed retelling of the King Arthur story 1 year prior, this latest Robin Hood movie tried way too hard to modernize this classic folk tale from the video game generation, with its frenetically photographed fight sequences and overuse of Zack Snyder-style slow-mo. And after this flipped the actual box office call, the only people who got their money stolen by this Robin Hood were the poor bastards at the studio who thought it could possibly be of this case. Personally, I'd like to see them go in a really bold direction next time and give us a Black Robin Hood. It's a proud tradition of Master Thespian Daffy Scott. Number 4, A Wrinkle in Time. After the Oscar-nominated success of Martin Luther King biopic Selma, director Ava DuVernay soon found herself getting an offer from Disney to direct the Black Panther movie. But DuVernay decided to ask Disney if she could instead direct the studio's planned cinematic adaptation of Madeline Langton's beloved children's sci-fi book, A Wrinkle in Time, which DuVernay happened to love reading in her childhood. And in the world of the 3 actual traveling witches who help a funky little girl search the cosmos to find her missing astrophysics father, those parts were cast with a tremendous trio of diverse female talent consisting of Mindy Kaling, Reese Witherspoon, and the one and only Oprah Winfrey. However, the history of book to film adaptations has shown us that there are certain classic works of literature out there which are a bit more complex to translate coherently onto the big screen. And such was sadly the case for this incomprehensible concept fantasy that may have delighted some fans of the source material, but mostly confused the rest of us as to why Oprah Winfrey was now 50 feet tall and wearing Dragon Ball Z hair. Still, even though the film was a big disappointment for Disney, no amount of bad reviews could take away Ava DuVernay's honor of becoming the first African-American woman to direct a $100 million movie at the box office. Penny Marshall is truly proud of you, Padawan. Number 3, Gotti. Over the course of his time at the head of the Gambino crime family, John Gotti proved himself to be one of the most fascinating criminal masterminds in cultural history. So you would think the man's life was true perfect material for a top-notch mafia movie, with John Wolfe fresh off his latest comeback in the People vs. O.J. Simpson, playing the role of the infamous Teflon Don. But instead of having Scorsese or Coppola in the director's chair, this Gotti biopic was being directed by one of those guys from the Entourage show. You know, the one who looked like an elf or something. And after the movie had received a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes and failed to open in the top 10, the movie's producers even went to mafia-like tactics against the film's naysayers, as they tried bringing the movie's audience score from the Rotten Tomatoes community to cut out to 80%. And use Twitter ads to dismiss the film's negative critics as merely trolls behind a keyboard. But aside from his strange marketing tactics, the actual movie was a far cry from the high standards for mafia sagas set by your Godfathers and Goodfellas, with the incontrovertible editing jumping back and forth in time through the events of John Gotti's life for no particular reason. And while Fulton's performance was certainly far from being as bad as Battlefield Earth, his cartoonish New York accent here made him feel less like John Gotti and more like an elderly Vinnie Barbarito. So after 8 years of production hell, the final result on this Gotti biopic proved to be pretty goddamn underwhelming. So I can only imagine that the rest of the Gotti family will soon show their displeasure with this Mr. Travolta by making him an offer he can't refuse. Number 2, The Happy Time Murders. In 2008, the chimpanzee company announced it was branching into more adult-oriented work by starting production on The Happy Time Murders, which was conceived as a Roger Rabbit-esque detective comedy set in a world where puppets coexist alongside the team, with hardened puppet detectives being teamed up alongside an equally cranky human detective to solve a series of mysterious murders involving puppet cast members from a beloved family sitcom. And after a decade of the film languishing in production hell, the film was finally brought to the big screen this year with the role of the human detective played by Melissa McCarthy. But while the film's original concept art had originally envisioned a dark film noir as atmosphere around all this dark comedies, the final product felt more like a 5-minute cop show parody for Punch or Die that got stretched painfully thick over 90 minutes. Besides, the concept of kid-friendly puppet entertainers revealing themselves to be nasty scumbags isn't all that shocking anymore, and this movie script didn't offer much more to the table other than the cheap novelty of 40 Muppets ejaculating silly string out of their dicks. And while Melissa McCarthy did well at dialing back her physical shtick here, she and the rest of the live-action cast had their comedic talents wasted by taking a backseat to these filthy-minded puppets. But even though their 10 long years of hard work didn't end up paying off for their big passion project, the heads of the company is moving on from this disappointment to start work on some hopefully better non-Muppet projects. So don't expect the heads of the company to be adding sex and or violence into the Muppet universe anytime soon, since that cool bastard Jim Henson decided to build these Muppet characters without any goddamn genitals. This is the complete term digitally. And now, we finally reached the #1 film which was voted by the readers of YoFo.com to be the worst movie of 2018, 50 Shades Freed. It's hard to believe it was 3 years ago when the best-selling sexual exploit between the sexy movie billionaire Christian Grey and the meekly married college student Anastasia Steele were finally brought onto the big screen, with the first film making so much money at the box office that Universal decided to film the next 2 50 Shades movies back to back. In spite of the first film's utter ravishing from the critics. And while the second installment may not have opened up at the top of the box office, the third and final 50 Shades film ended up beating the competition yet again on Valentine's weekend, although it did have the lowest box office opening in the franchise's history. Perhaps audiences had lost some very slow enthusiasm in the 2 years they had to wait between movies, in between which was released a shitty 50 Shades parody movie. And now that the third film had Kristen and are finally embracing domestic life and getting it together, the chemistry between these two now went from feeling dangerous and exciting to just plain drinking and gross. With all the ludicrous romantic dialogue and overwrought plot devices that you would expect from a film series based off a terrible book series that turned out as fan fiction from another terrible book series. But while Jamie Gordon and Dakota Johnson will have no trouble moving on with better things in their careers, their work in the 50 Shades trilogy will never live down the infamy of having all 3 of its films, including its parody film, end up on our list for the worst movies of the year, with its final installment being declared the worst movie of 2018. As for any men and women who've been forced to sit through these terrible movies on Valentine's Day date night with a romantic partner, they look like the 50 Shades have also been free from having to sit through another shitty 50 Shades of Grey movie ever again! And there you have it, folks, the top 10 movies that you voted as the very worst movies to come out in 2018. Maybe one day I'll review one of those films on All Language Movies, which you can get new episodes of on the JoJo Video YouTube channel. Until next time, I'm Jesse Shade for JoJo.com, hoping you all have a very happy New Year. And we leave you once again with a list of the bad movies which didn't quite make our list this year. Give me a beat, Mary J. Blige, though. Surprises from all of them. No, I'm not talking about those surprises. I'm talking about the good surprises. Like how a guy from a sketch comedy duo turned out to be a practical horror filmmaker, how one of the worst movies ever made inspired one of the best movies of the year, or how each team managed to make an honest to God great movie for once. But Hollywood still had its fair share of epic fails. It brings us to our list of the worst movies of 2017. As usual, we had you awesome readers at JoJo.com pick from our poll which was the worst movie you've seen this past year. And since we know there's a lot of trolls out there who will give around the movie's internet ratings just for giggles and fun, we're once again taking precautions by adding the IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes scores for each movie, and divide that sum by the percent of readers who voted for the movie. But the movies that landed in the top 10 are the ones that you guys voted. And I can't tell you how excited I get about doing these worst movies of the year lists at the end of each year. Hell, I even appear on other people's worst movies of the year countdown videos from time to time.
More of the noise. Do that shit again. Look you big enough there right there, man.
I mean, that's about the biggest compliment you can receive from a fellow filmmaker, that you resemble a 14 polar bear voiced by Rob Schneider. Thank you for it, Coleman, you have made my life. So without further ado, JoJo.com and All Language Movies present your pick for the worst movies of 2017. Number 10, Resident Evil, The Final Chapter. When the first Resident Evil game hit the PlayStation in 1996, it scared its players so it began a media empire. There were sequels, there were spin-offs, and there was a movie adaptation in 2002, starring Mila Jovovich as zombie shooting Alex, as directed by her future husband, Paul Nicholas Anderson. And much like Anderson's adaptation of Mortal Kombat, it was one of the last cycles in the video game movies. And this solid box office gave us a couple of sequels: Apocalypse, Extinction, Afterworld, Retribution, Armed Tribute, Extratergeddon, and Resident Evil Saves Christmas. But now Jovovich and Anderson have wrapped it up with The Final Chapter. Because when a horror franchise does a face their final movie, you know that they totally need it. And when you know it, this sixth installment is just like all the rest, with Mila Jovovich and her gang of marauders roaming the post-apocalyptic wasteland, shooting up undead zombies, and facing off against the evil corporate bad guys in the second and third movie, whose return to the series because he needs something to do while Game of Thrones goes anyway. But thanks to the cheap cinematography of the action scenes and a refreshed 3D version, this movie was hard to watch in more ways than one, and had the lowest box office debut of any movie in the franchise. But combined with its worldwide gross, it's actually the highest grossing film of the franchise. And as long as we have copies of the Resident Evil games, there is surely a chance for more Resident Evil movies. Just please consider to start numbering these movies, though. This franchise is hardly too dignified to start putting some numbers in the goddamn title. I mean, really. Number 9, Triple X, Return of Xander Cage. After Vin Diesel launched his career with the first Fast and Furious in 2001, he decided to tap on doing his school, so he could do Triple X, an action spy thriller where he played his dream athlete for super spy, Xander Cage. But after that, when he cleaned up in the box office, Diesel once again tapped on doing a sequel so he could launch another franchise with the Chronicles of Red.
Because
But now that Disney will have come back to the Fast and Furious franchise and made billions of dollars in the process, he felt the time was right to bring Chandler Tate out of retirement. And not only did he bring back his failed acquaintance Ice Cube for a cameo, but his fellow lines were played by a group of international superstars. Tony Jaa from Thailand, Ruby Rose from Australia, Kira Imlay from the Jeddah system, and the returning Samuel L. Jackson from the country of what? Why no country I heard of? They think English and what? The problem is, it's a little hard for baby folks to fit display an extreme athlete who's cool with the kids, late pushing 50 years old. And since the Fast and Furious movies are already for people in room, the government buys the whole ridiculous stuff, there's really nothing that another complexity would bring to people that the next Fast and Furious would already give less than a couple months. And thus this movie was at an awful huge and unwilling box office here in America, but has made over $300 million around the rest of the world. So maybe Chandler Tate will once again get to unconvincingly fly out of the plane thanks to the magic of movies. Number 8, Skip. If there was any lesson on the work of 21 and 22 Jump Street, it's that the music adaptation of a TV drama can actually pay off if you make the effort. But Warner Brothers certainly made an effort with their film adaptation of Skip. Sure, the original motorcycle cop drama from the 70s and 80s was fresh in line with today's generation, but hiring Jack Jefferson to write, direct, and star in a TV film adaptation would surely give it a fresh coat of paint. And since the window of opportunity was long ago, and what was all wrong with the fight club, Warner might continue to come in instead to fill Eric Drive's iconic brown uniform. But we all remember what happened the last time that Shepard wrote and directed a movie. Nobody saw that fucking movie. And no one saw this shit movie either. So this romance-related humor clearly taken from the 21 Jump Street playbook. And it's still having a really specific focus on Jake and Ash. Well, now that this movie is failed, I guess my hopes of a film adaptation of Top Rock have been completely dashed. It's just not fair, goddammit. Number 7, Geostorm. As we've seen on the heavy storms and all
Geostorm, that's awesome.
this year, global warming can be a real bitch. But some of the movies that inspired are pretty goddamn bad as well, such as Forget, or The Day After Tomorrow. Speaking of Day After Tomorrow, Roland Emmerich's former producing partner Dean Devlin decided to get back into the disaster movie game with his first directorial effort, set in a future where satellites have extended in space, successfully stopped by the change of creating disaster weather. Until one day the satellites started malfunctioning and whooped the Earth's natural disaster, forcing the chief satellite architect played by Clarence Butler to go up into space and fix the satellites so he can save Earth.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, at least that was the reception from Kesha when they first saw this movie in December 2015. Then after its release was delayed by back-end Superman taking its spot, Warner Brothers did $50 million for the reshoots in December 2016, with Jerry Bruckheimer as the new producer.
It's like shooting on a pile of shit.
And after it wasn't bad enough that Dean Devlin came back to fix that shitty Independence Day TV last year, the delayed release of Superman a year later has eventually killed its chances of a comeback. And how the hell is Gerard Butler not fired this goddamn season already? Seriously, it's been a decade since 300 came out here, and you need help. Number 6, 50 Shades of Dark. In 2015, 50 Shades of Grey was voted by News Joe Weird as the second most movie of that year. In 2016, it's 50 Shades of Black was voted as the year's 5th movie. Now we have hit 3 straight years of 50 Shades movies making it onto the list. This sequel, the sexual antics of Rich Paul, Jeffrey Gray, and his girlfriend Anna Steele has gotten even tastier and stupider, with Anna Christie's strange love affair under attack by the reappearance of their former lover. All the first 50 Shades were home for the box office records opening on Valentine's weekend. 50 Shades Darker opened on that same weekend, only getting cast by the illegal Batman. Because when it comes to pretty billionaires who lead double lives, who eat gadgets, and have sex with Kim Basinger, at least Batman will stick any of those gadgets up your ass from the beta for 50 Shades franchise. The fans don't need to work because they filmed the final installment at the same time as the second one. And I'm sure 50 Shades 3 will be the one which is so good that it redeems its entire series. Not with a fucking weekend. We'll be seeing you two assholes on next year's one. Number 5, The Dark Tower. D&D is one of those writers whose novels and short stories can get adapted into movies or TV series as soon as the book is discussed, except for the 8 novels in the Dark Tower series. An epic saga which combines interdimensional sci-fi with gritty western gunfighting. With this series' complex mythology and meta references from other Stephen King books, a big screen adaptation has eluded such filmmakers as J.J. Abrams and Ron Howard. But this year we finally got a Dark Tower movie that would serve as both an adaptation of the books and a sequel to the books. And with Ron Howard staying on as producer, it would surely be
You want that wrong?
No.
It was.
Yeah, I know. What did you watch me say that?
Now the problem here was trying to stuff 8 books worth of mythology and backstory into a 95-minute movie with a bunch of last-minute reshoots and re-editing in the wake of 4 centuries. Didn't anybody learn anything from the last Airbender movie? And CGM claimed that making a PG-13 movie didn't do justice to the extreme amount of violence in the book. So with this Dark Tower getting shot down with bad reviews and low box office, nobody knows what's going to happen to not just the second Dark Tower movie, but the planned Dark Tower TV show starring Idris Elba as well. But in the world of literary fantasy adaptations, you either come correct or you don't come at all. So I think the answer to that open question would have to be no. Number 4, The Mummy. While Disney reached the cast with its Marvel universe, Star Wars universe, and its recently acquired X-Men universe, the rest of Hollywood has been eager they think on their own cinematic universe. And the classic monster movies that Universal Studios made in the 30s and 40s gave Universal a perfect blueprint to work from, because they were doing crossovers with lots of their Marvel Studios. Sure, Universal already tried starting the Monster Universe 3 years ago with Dracula Untold, but for the last time, that movie never happened. It was just a bad dream. Instead, we're going to start all over again with this remake of the fourth Karloff classic, which had already been remade into a hit franchise. And this time, we got the nice lady girl from Kingston to play a gender swap woman with none other than Tom Cruise playing her half victim. Now be the movie! And Russell Crowe coming in to tie the two work together in the role of next year's That's correct. What's so confident that this movie is the end? Every more single photo streaks the future Universal monsters. Javier Bardem as Frankenstein's monster, Johnny Depp as the Invisible Man. So yeah, we're confident that our new Dark Universe is going to be pumping out new movies for years to come after the release of the Mummy for its box office. But oh, shit. Yes, no. not even the box office product Tom Cruise could help watch this turn off the ground. Thanks to a manufactured script that ripped off not just the first Mummy remake, but even an American Werewolf in London. And when someone is in setting up future Dark Universe movies, they didn't give a shit about setting up this first movie. And now we might even see the rest of these movies, with two of the Dark Universe's biggest producers leading the franchise after the failure, which means we won't be seeing James Franco's Seth Rogen slamming side anytime soon. Well, at least we still have that trailer, which Universal accidentally put online without any music or counting that. Number 3, Transformers, the last step. The Transformers movie franchise is the worst movies of the year, what Daily Wood is the Oscars. Every year that they make a new movie, they're at least going to get a nomination. And here we are with Michael Bay's latest parade of robot fun. And not only did Mark Wahlberg return to once again look like his brain starting to hurt from thinking too much, but we also have Anthony Hopkins, showing the cast of playing a huge elderly actor who says he's back on the set of Blood Bowl for season 2. And since these movies do need some sort of excuse for a story, we've got Optimus Prime being brainwashed by an evil robot sorceress who obtained a magic staff from a group of earthbound Transformers who helped King Arthur defeat the Baxters. But no matter what story you give these movies, it all boils down to robots punching each other and things explode. And unlike the last one installment, this one didn't do spectacularly at the box office, becoming the lowest grossing movie of the franchise as well as its most reviews. But Hasbro still wants to imagine the world of Transformers. So be ready for the next Christmas release of the Bumblebee spin-off movie starring none other than Baron Cena. As for Michael Bay, he is again insisting he will return to the Transformers movie. And perhaps he actually means it this time. I mean, after you managed to catch experienced actor Anthony Hopkins alongside a robot in Night Pro 2, then you've got as far as you can go with the franchise reacting. Number 2, Tyler Perry's Voodoo 2 on the Dia Halloween. Say what you will about Tyler Perry's Dia documentary with its sassy alter show Dia, but at least Tyler's had a creative foresight to keep throwing the Dia into new situations with every new movie. It never relied on the same plot device twice. But last year, the Dia Halloween was such a hit that they decided to have the Dia spend another movie getting ropes and zombies upside their heads with no birds. And for this sequel, Tyler Perry has really upped the dramatic stakes. For that first movie without the Dia and her friends chasing after a rebellious teenage girl stuck away to attend a Halloween frat party, this follow-up now has Medea and her friends chasing after that same teenage girl when she again seeks out to attend an outdoor frat party on Halloween. So boy, that $5 million they added to the budget really makes a difference, huh? But this time, even some of Tyler Perry's vendors had to admit this sequel was just a lazy copy of the first movie, which was simply made to make money off the Halloween season. I mean, when that first Medea Halloween got a great from audiences, the second one went down to the A-. Still from the 10th comic and the Medea family funeral is slated for weeks in August. So for now, the threat of more Medea Halloween movies is much like the threat of Michael Myers. But now, we'll surely come back. And now, we are proud to announce that the #1 worst movie of 2017, as voted by the users of Twitter.com, is The Emoji Movie. Record received to Lilo and Stitch 2, Stitch as a Glitch, and Eagle. One day, Tony was thinking about what a modern-day version of Toy Story would look like, when he would set a text message with an emoji in it, and that is just a brilliant idea. Let's do a Toy Story for emojis. Yes, it may sound like the dumbest of ideas, but we also got with the idea of a Lego movie as well, until we actually saw it and found out it was awesome. And much like Lego movies, this film also knows protagonist who feels like an outcast in the middle of this perfect society. It travels into the outside world so he can find his identity. In fact, that's pretty much the plot of every animated movie that comes out today.
I'm an emoji, but I have some third purpose here. I'm going out, outside to hide. I'm going to Robot City. I'll make you proud.
But what drove the emoji movie apart was the sheer talent of its voice acting, especially the voice of Patrick Stewart as the emoji going from #1 to much. Oh, wait a minute. Every animated movie has like that, so that's nothing new. But hey, did we mention that we cut in and out on scenes of a little kid going through these different emotions as they happen in real life? Oh, you bet to be kidding me! Well, then, I guess the emoji movie is just like every other CGI animated movie before it, except for one aspect. It barely made any money. Plus, the reviews happen to be abysmally unkind for an animated movie written by an indie studio. Maybe the problem with the movie advertising, which fell into hot water when an ad on the movie's Twitter parodied the Hulu original series, The Handmaid's Tale. Brutal dictatorships where women are held against their will to bear children. The kids just love them. But no matter to have saved the emoji movie from being the largest among Sony Pictures' many failures this year, and from being the worst of the many terrible movies from 2017. I would summarize my final thoughts: angry emoji, middle finger emoji, and Bernie film strip emoji. And so we've reached the end of counting down 4 picks for the worst movies of 2017. Who knows, one of these days I might review one of these movies for awfully good movies, which releases new episodes every other week here on the Showmo Videos YouTube channel. Until next year, this is Jimmy J for Showmo.com, and let us once again end this list by paying respects to the movies that didn't quite make the list this year.
Give me a beat.
Watch
coronavirus pandemic has greatly disrupted all of our lives since our last Oddly Good movie episode. Staying inside our homes, slow the spread of the virus, and movie theaters across the globe will close up shop for the next few months as many of this year's most anticipated blockbusters have delayed their release dates. But we still need to find some laughter and levity amidst these scary and confusing times. And DreamWorks Animation is looking to provide it by digitally releasing the sequel to their 2016 hit Troll, with Anna Kendrick and Justin Timberlake once again providing their speaking and singing voices in Troll form. And much like its predecessor, this second film based on the Troll storyline, it sure provides some musical light out there to all the household families who really need it right now. And should at least be a better sequel to a movie about Troll than Troll 2. But these scenes will go through the jobs, and perhaps your family can try another cinematic adaptation of a popular storyline from the 1980s, or rather a parody of a popular storyline, as we sift through the trash known as the Garbage Pail Kids movie. Long before people were fighting over fine rolls of toilet paper, they were tussling over who got to buy their children one of the Cabbage Patch Kids, a line of adorable baby-faced dolls which were so popular during the 1983 holiday season that stores broke out into full-blown riots over their limited supply. And it's these dolls that would inspire Pulitzer-Prize-winning cartoonist Art Spiegelman to create a line of trading cards for the Topps company known as the Garbage Pail Kids, which parodied those adorable Cabbage Patch Kids into grotesque caricatures that each had their own unique abnormalities. And even as schools tried to stop children playing with these cards during class, the runaway success of the Garbage Pail Kids leads to production of a motion picture adaptation.
What else do you want to do?
Very first film based on
Oh, just going to separate the two dolphins or the blue turkeys or what they call it from the rest of the picture.
Studios plan for a sequel never coming to be. So seeing as I never grew up in the era of Cabbage Patch or Garbage Pail Kids, I'll watch this movie from an unbiased point of view and decide whether it should be saved from the garbage bin of history. In fact, I'll have you folks know that the only trading cards I collected back in my day were the Blair Witch Project trading cards. Yes, everyone else might have been into that Pokemon kit, but joke's on them. My Blair Witch cards are currently worth an astounding $22.99 on eBay. That is some good money right there. And yes, I didn't do anything for being stuck in my house for 4 weeks and counting. How do you know?
I am the fly. Help me! Help me!
First, make sure you wash your hands thoroughly with soap and water before you pick up the load right here, and we out this routine Jones Dead style with the awfully good drinking game. Ladies and gentlemen, as our film opens with an unusual credits, a up to the production. Yeah, too bad that Wrigley's never decided to go into the movie business. We could have gotten to see Big Red, the movie starring Chuck Norris as Big Red Wrigley. After credits roll, we see a garbage can space, which contains our titular garbage pail kids, with the garbage pail spaceship somehow landing inside an antique shop. But before we can get a bit of a look at the alien building, the owner of the store comes up to see what's going on, and the kids hide back inside the garbage can, with the owner placing a doctor collar on top of the pail to prevent the kids from getting out again. And we're currently stuck inside the garbage pail and starved to death. The end. Roll credits. Actually, our film next country. The hero story named Johnson, played by the actor, aka brother of San Juan Gandy and son of Gomez Adams. Doctor finds himself quartered in a public park by a British gang of two as led by a red-haired tough guy which is short for his full name, Juice Patrick.
So he's my kind of guy. Real psycho. Doesn't lie, just hard.
So after Juice orders one of his underlings to steal some left money from the boy's pockets and drop him into a lucky puddle, Doctor heads to his job over at the previously seen antique shop where we meet the owner of the store, an eccentric magician named Captain Manzini, played by Anthony Newley, who has retired from his colorful career because he's grown weary of the lack of magic in our modern day and materialistic society. Okay, I'm not sure where this guy gets off having such profound illuminations on the savage nature of mankind. He's a fucking dinosaur magician running a duck shop. That's Dr. Manhattan hiding out on the surface of Mars. When Dr. Newley knocks over the garbage can containing Garbage Pail Kids, Manzini orders the young boy to garbage can into a few items in his store that should never be messed with, and places it onto a shelf out of its reach. So we find out that Doctor has a preconceived crush on one of the female members of his gang named Tangerine. And after the boy invites Tangerine to take a look inside the antique shop where the attempts to take a set on the girl's hair, not creepy at all, that's when Juice arrives to find the boy snooping up on his woman and decides to teach this girl from a lesson. It's a matter of principle. Unfortunately, Juice doesn't know how to walk behind a goddamn store counter, and his male assistant, Wally, is easily defeated by both skateboards and basketballs. But Wally does manage to throw the boy around and ends up knocking over the garbage pail, out of which comes a green slime. Which either means that Oscar Crouch has been jerking off inside the garbage can again, or that this green slime will form into our titular Garbage Pail Kids, who come to rescue Doctor after he's left inside a sewer by Juice and his gang so that the unconscious boy can drown in the sewage water. See you later, Murphy. Ah, yes, leaving an unconscious child to drown in fecal matter. Rated PG. Or who gets? So Doctor waits for the slumber to feast his eyes upon the Garbage Pail Kids, and when Captain Manzini walks into the store to find the children have escaped from their pail, he proceeds to introduce Doctor and the audience to each one of the Garbage Pail Kids. First we have Greaser Red, a leather-jacketed greaser who's prone to pulling out his switchblade. We'll call an eye on you. Then there's Messy Tessie, whose abnormality is that of a constantly runny nose. After her is Whitney Winston, who, true to his name, is frequently ripping juicy parts out of his ass crack. Next we have Foul Phil, a baby who suffers suffers from halitosis and who asks every adult he meets after his mommy or daddy. Next to him is Matt Nerd, a simple-faced geek who dresses up like a superhero and frequently kisses his pants. Next we meet Valerie Vomit, a curly-haired little girl who has the power to vomit on command. And finally we have Allie Davis, a anthropomorphic alligator who's got an insatiable appetite for human toes. And now that we've got those introductions out of the way, I shall now proceed to line out my fresh stream of horror and multiply a pillow. Yes, folks, I've seen plenty of horrific looking creatures back over the course of the show. We get the Ewok, Mr. Toilet Man, Mia, the son of Godzilla, and Marty Lawrence. But the Garbage Pail Kids are in a category all on their own, even as Captain Manzini assures that their unusual features are a gift rather than a curse.
I'm in a cold, Nina is full, green, blessed with unusual features. It's an adventure.
Yes, one adventure us being frequently a street kids and forced out of their orifices, or to have a fetish for human toes that would make even Quentin Tarantino feel uneasy. Truly an adventure. But the look of these horrifying creatures actually makes sense when you hear that they were concocted by legendary B-movie makeup artist John Carl Euclid, who as the film director intended to make a full-on horror movie with the Garbage Pail Kids, until the studio decided on a family-friendly direction instead. And since the effects team didn't finish the animatronics on the facial puppet in time of production, the Garbage Pail Kids can only flap their mouths up and down in the hope of sticking up to this unfunny dialogue.
What a crock. Yeah, tell me about it. What a great thing. Let's get shit and mess it up.
Certainly doesn't help that the voice actors for these kids, among them being legendary voice actors Jim Cummings as the voice of Lois Reaper Greg and Matt Nerd, speak in the most annoying voices imaginable.
What? Yeah. That's what these fucking kids sound like. I would rather listen to Gilbert Gottfried screaming over a sobbing child who's swimming in a pool of broken glass and lemon juice. But if you can put aside the repulsiveness of the Garbage Pail Kids, you'll find that this film's attempt at an actual plot is hilariously pathetic. As Dr. Humphrey Tangerine on a trip to a nightclub where he sells herself designed clothes to the club's patrons in hopes of one day becoming a big name fashion designer.
I'm just on my way out to town. Someday I'm going to be a famous fashion designer. That's my way off. Well, I'm not going to party based on my life at 12.
Oh, Stevie, you're starting out your fashion career by selling clothes from a duffel bag in the back alley of a club, then you're likely going to be living in that ancient little life. So in order to help Dodger impress the girl, the Garbage Pail Kids throw together a swanky jacket for the boy straight from the Corey Feldman collection. And when he tells Tangerine that he made the jacket himself, he asks Dodger if he can draw some more clothes that the two of them can sell for their fashion collection. And when Dodger asks the Garbage Pail Kids if they can make some more clothes for him, the kids decide whether to help him in the form of a wretched musical number.
Why you putting something nuts? Let's put down that fire bunch.
Because if you didn't think your voices were unpleasant enough, let's have these kids sing a song that even the Smurfs will think was beneath them. And the best part is that the guy playing Captain Manzini is himself an accomplished singer-songwriter, having co-written both the theme song to Goldfinger and the songs for Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But no, let's instead go with this bullshit that's so terrible that they do not even credit a songwriter for it in the end credits. And amidst being hard at work selling these outfits for Dodger and Tangerine, the Garbage Pail Kids decide to take a break from their work by heading out on the town while wearing a Ninja Turtle-esque disguises and writing out on ATV, where they take into a movie theater showing some classic Three Stooges shorts. And while the audience watching Three Stooges live heartily enjoying the light, the young audiences watching the Garbage Pail Kids movies are sobbing in existential despair. Meanwhile, Vinny Whitson and Alligator head out separately so that they can hang out at the toughest bar in the world, where Alligator's appetite for clothes gets them into trouble with a vicious biker gang. And Vinny Whitson must come in to save the day by blasting gas into the biker's faces. Sir, sure you don't want to go back and do another take of that line of dialogue? Oh, who am I kidding? This movie can't even afford to hide the piece of wire that pulls the mustache off that guy's face. And if this movie didn't have enough going on, it turns out the Garbage Pail Kids are searching for their fellow-born children whom they've been separated from, and who they fear have been locked out in the state home for the ugly.
Well, what are you going to do? You think they might be locked up somewhere? They're really terrible place in the state home for the ugly. I can't believe you can make a place like that.
That's right, 53 minutes is the Tower Down movie, and we just now find out about this state home for the ugly as soon as we start through the streets of the Dodge Action Match capturing and normally ugly people they find, and locking them up inside of a goddamn prison. How the hell could you not find a building that is clearly labeled State Home for the Ugly? And what person would even be allowed the power to imprison ugly people in stages? That's basically the reason you don't think actually locking up the disabled. Half of you shouldn't be employing a little boy in a bank shop who don't have no parents and who probably did live in his butthole. Yeah, I got a bank trick for you, Mancini. I just make your fucking head disappear. When Dr. just like the Garbage Pail Kids find their friends and they are selling his clothing and Green finds out the Garbage Pail Kids have been making these foods all along, he comes to discover that Tangerine has secretly splitting up clothing profits with you behind Dr. Fat.
Yeah, that's a real creep. Boy, see, this guy, OJ Simpson, people who are nicknamed Juice are just no good. 19 Juice 2, Juice Newton. So while Dodger and Double Tangerine was a department store fashion show where their clothes are being showcased, Juice and the gang break into Captain Mandy's antique store by knocking out the captain with a keyboard duster, and they snatch up the garbage pail kids to send them off for a reward. To be stable for the ugly. The kids were locked up in a jail cell alongside Albert Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, Abraham Lincoln, and Santa Claus. What the fuck? Is the same old ugly evil from this time stuff to bring in these historical figures? Oh, sure, makes sense. This state home is allowed to kill ugly people as they see fit. By throwing them in the trash compactor. Look, why are Abraham Lincoln and Santa Claus in the jail cell together? I am still stuck on that part. Meanwhile, as our big fashion shows about to start, Dodger's warlocks discover that Tangerine has sold out the location of the garbage pail kids to their fellow gang members.
Where are they?
And Dodger is disposed of by Juice's students into a garbage disposal, only for Dodger to immediately escape 5 seconds later. Curses! Foiled again! This only day expects the dagger coming on top of that garbage plate. And after Dodger reunites with Captain Mandini to make it up to the prisoners from the state home, Mandini uses his axe to defend out the guards and free the prisoners, while Dodger keeps the help of the fighter guard to help the garbage pail kids and their fellow ugly escape by carrying the guards off the windows with their motorcycles, even though they could have just headed out the easily openable door instead. So as Gandhi and Lincoln are free to once again party on with Bill and Ted, and yes, Gandhi will be in Bill and Ted 3, so that joke will make sense very soon. You're probably wondering what became of those missing garbage pail kids.
We're not the garbage truckers. Keep it right.
That's right, kids. All the rest of the garbage pail kids are fucking dead! Murder! Turned to a bloody goop inside of a trash compactor! They're all dead children fucking dead! But who cares about our dead brothers and sisters? We gotta focus on getting revenge on that legal Juice and Tangerine by dropping in on our big fashion show. In a finale, which is somewhat reminiscent of the enemies who fall into the parasites with a bunch of snooty upper classes having their furry disrupted by the ugly lower classes that they look down upon.
Oh, yeah, I'll show you ugly.
Except instead of rich people being stabbed in the heart with knives, they are instead.
Oh my god, are we good?
So in other words, nothing else left there. But hey, we do find that you can see Valerie Common actually throwing a vomit for the first time in this movie. And Dodger finally finds the bravery to fight back against Juice, thanks to the help of their clearly middle-aged stuntmen.
Come on. Forgot how.
And thus marks the final Juice-related fight involving a member of the Atkins family until the 50 brother starts with Meet the Juice alongside Stoney and the Encino Man.
No, I still.
So our story wraps up as Captain Mandy claims to have found the musical spell that will lure the garbage pail kids back into the garbage pail once and for all. But what's this? Those rapscallions end up sneaking out for another night on the town as they ride out into the night once again.
Well, that's where they second month away. As you go, contract will
Yeah, garbage pail kids, it was thanks to you that Captain Mandy once again found his faith in humanity. Maybe it was the vomit, maybe it was the flatulence, maybe it was the urine. But either way, you garbage pail kids truly represent the best of us. Well, except for the prison garbage pail kids who got through in the trash and are now fucking dead, dead children! But you will eventually be dead! Much like the Dream Dark series was based on, the garbage pail kids movie has remained an established cult favorite for those who grew up with it. And I can totally understand why. As back in the making movie, it is an immediate snapshot of the era in which it was made, full of its happy day, old-fashioned, its synthesizer soundtrack, and its decidedly non-intimidating villain. This movie always manages to find new ways to amuse you and confuse you, and of course, freak you out. So if you're getting a local quarantine distraction, this is one awfully good movie that will get the job done. As for those of you wondering why I didn't just use Troll 2 to tie into this Trolls movie, well, I don't know. I didn't want it. I don't know. And also, when you watch the like a bunch of basketball games trip down to their closet of candies in the PG-rated family film, the closest thing you'll see is from the actress playing Tangerine, Phoebe Barberi. By the way, if you feel speedy about this relationship between Vernon and Kenzie Ashton, not to worry, because both of them were in their teens at the time of production. And were actually dating behind the scenes, only for them to sadly break up before the end of the film, much like their fictional counterparts. Sorry, Tangerine, but Dodger has found himself a new lady inside, and her name is Valerie Bowman. On the enjoyment of this continuing tale of Roller Room, the Garbage Pail
Are we done?
may not be a better movie based on the trading card series and Mars Attack, but it's certainly better than any other toy line adaptation from the 1980s.
Yes, Mom, we are.
Set in exchange for a 7 out of 10. Now here's something Hollywood moves on to adapting 3D cards next, with Maxine, the motion picture. I'm Jesse
Are you doing this?
I'd like for the show to try to respect the best of luck to every one of our viewers suffering through this pandemic. We hope that you all stay safe and healthy. And I hope that all these movies provide you with laughter and a country can eventually overcome this crisis. And we shall overcome, because in the words of our good friends, the Garbage Pail Kids, we can't do anything when working with each other.
Okay, Monica Lewinsky's cover up, all done now. She's the second softest cop from Christopher. I mean, Campbelltown. There we go. And that was some gay writings they give me a season, so she forgot there's actually 4 seasons. They're supposed to say, give me 4 seasons! So there's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all some shit like that. I forgot now. There we go. So there's some Orcas, and so there's Mummy Orca and Baby Orca, and flying through a galaxy of gay cotton, those cotton candies that she got from the market last week. There you go. She was with her mummy there, and Shirley Womanfellow was 8 feet tall. She had glasses, but she's from bloody Campbelltown, so they're not too bright. What's your mummy's name? Patricia. Patricia? Yeah, special window liquor. Monica said. Just like Katie, who's not my friend anymore, apparently. That's what Monica said too. But Katie, I know you still love me, we're still best friends, so I don't listen to anything Monica said. She's window liquor. Done. Okay, Monica Lewinsky's totally all done now, so we carved up some gay writing on there, so I did first season. And now we've got some Orcas, what the fuck are they called? Orcas. What's them?
Maybe you should just say kill a whale.
Whales, yeah. Black and white things, but when can we say black and white now? That's because Asians are fucking racist and shit. So.
That's right.
You got fucking skull in your arm, bitch.
I told you this.
Oh, when?
When you were tattooing.
That's
how long it was.
How long ago was that?
20 odd years.
Jesus.
At least.
Did your sister Katie done it? Was they go mental?
Hope she's not your friend, vessel.
Huh. Yeah, I'm crying about that every fucking day. Katie, please be my best friend again. I've got another friend now. Freaking hate. Okay.